Hi, and welcome today to the Calm Waves podcast. I'm Dallas Cowan, and I am joined by Andy Vickers, which I am so excited. I feel like I get so excited for everyone that I've talked to on the podcast, but generally I'm so excited at every person that I've been able to do. Andy has been a guy that I've just been able to get to know over the last couple months. We got introduced through a mutual friend, and I just love Andy. I love your story. I love what you're working on. And so I am so thankful and excited to have you on the podcast today.
Man, grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to jump right into it. I want to know, I know you've got your D1 shirt on. You're working with D1, in the kind of the upper franchise level. That's what you're doing today. But I would just love to kind of hear about, who you are, your story, and what you're working on today and what you're excited about. I know there's a lot of questions in there, but just to kind of get an origin story of Andy and yeah, just who you are.
All right, I'll just give you my elevator pitch. We'll call it that.
Okay.
So, was born in Arlington, Texas, relocated to Alabama, grew up in Middle Alabama, even went to college here, University of South Alabama. Was an athlete first. So I was a wakeboarder, if you're familiar. Competitive water sports athlete. So for those who don't know, basically snowboarding behind a boat. So did that and gave myself a shot to do it as a career after college. That was really plan A. I was in business school because I had an academic scholarship and my parents refused to let me pass on it to try to go get on the wakeboard tour. I was a first generation college graduate from my family, so there was a big emphasis placed on education when it came to me. And so anyways, after graduation, first contest as like, I'm going to make this my job, snap my foot, have a Lisfranc Frank injury. Essentially, my toes touched my shin. They had to go in, put a bunch of screws in for like artificial metatarsals, like you have these that run to your fingers, same things in your feet. And rehab, didn't walk for like 7 or 8 months. Did it again, bent the hardware in my foot, trying to make a comeback. Ended up having an infection, almost lost my foot. Crazy story. But nonetheless, I hung up the athlete hat at that point. At least so I thought. So that was kind of the end of professional athletics. I had the business degree. I was one of the first to go through my college's entrepreneurship concentration as a program. So I had that to fall back on and thought, hey, let's try to build some businesses since we're not going to be an athlete anymore. And had a couple of startups and exits in the tourism industry, had a media company, had a screen printing company, then also opened some gyms of my own with some investors and managed those. And really, man, just had so much going on. We launched a real estate brokerage. I was just wearing so many hats and doing so much on a daily basis. I had also gotten into endurance athletics over the years, and it was great because it scratched that athlete itch, but I could still go to work during the day, fit in that training, and kind of put that hat back on. So essentially was just doing so many things, man, and burning the candle at both ends, as they say, and essentially had a burnout. So started experiencing some depression symptoms, some anxiety, things that I had never really experienced. And long story short, ended up locking myself in my condo for about 2 years, just not charging my phone for a month at a time. I just did not care. I always tell people I didn't even have the Uber Eats app on my phone prior to going in this hole. And that was exclusively what I ate for 2 years. So gained 100 pounds. It was a wild ride, and in September of last year is when I would say that I started to get healthy again, started collecting my thoughts, feeling better, started training, and now here we are on the road to get back to being an endurance athlete. I think we're down like 60 pounds now, and just feeling really good.
Well, that is a lot to unpack in those, a lot of different rabbit holes to go down. So thank you for sharing that. From being a wakeboarder and having a dream and then having that literally snapped,
Yeah.
in half, to kind of going down in this, being super successful, exits and everything that everyone wants, to having this kind of this drop off. What was the thing that you started to feel like what was the thing that you started to feel where you're like, something's not right? Like, and from that kind of that drop into depression and anxiety.
I'd say probably the first thing that changed was sleep, my sleep patterns.
Hmm.
So I just could not sleep, man. I would, lay my head on the pillow. And prior, when I was healthy, sleep was never an issue. Like oftentimes I'd say, I think I fell asleep before my head hit the pillow as I was laying in bed. And, man, I couldn't do it. Like I could not stop the thoughts in my brain that were going, nonstop at night, thinking about everything that I had done that day or things that I dropped the ball on and had to do the next day. The list was never ending. So I'd say the first thing that I saw change was my sleep, and then following that was appetite. So I say I gained 100 pounds, but I lost 25 pounds before I gained that 100 pounds. So wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping. Then, man, like the biggest thing was I've always been extroverted, very big into networking, a people person, and like I wanted zero human contact.
Mm. Did it feel like because you were so emotionally just drained that you didn't want to see people, or like what was the cause where you just had no desire to see them?
Yeah, I think that it was because I'd been pouring from an empty cup for so long that I didn't have anything to give them. But also I had people oftentimes tell me that they looked up to me or that I was leading by example, all these things. So when I wasn't okay, I didn't want people to see that side.
Got it. Okay. Wow. What was the thing that kind of got you out of it? Like what, you're in there for 2 years, you're eating Uber Eats, you're not, but what was the thing that you were like, okay, now it's time to get back to my old self in a way?
Still trying to figure that out. But essentially it was nothing I did, right? The only thing I could give credit to is God. I woke up one day and it was like a fog that had been over my brain for 2 years was gone. And it was actually so foreign to me that when I woke up, I thought I was sick. So I pulled out the Uber Eats app and started looking for Dayquil or whatever. And about halfway through filling out my shopping cart, I was like, wait a minute, no, you're the opposite. So I opened up my MacBook that had been sitting on the table for 2 years, couldn't even remember my password. That's how far I was down. And logged in, no problem. It was still on a real estate contract that I had handed off from 2 years prior. And I started reading the verbiage on the contract, and I was like, wait, like my brain's working again.
Wow.
And at that same time, I looked up at my wall in my condo and I saw my bikes from when I was an endurance athlete. And I noticed the front spokes of one of them was completely covered in a spider. Charlotte's web, thick web that I hadn't noticed for 2 years because I wasn't worried about how clean it was, right? And I just felt a whisper like, hey, go get on that thing and go raise some money to help people not sit on their couch for 2 years. And so that's been, I'm not going to say there hasn't been challenges and adversity. Obviously, there has been in weight loss, restarting your career from zero, restarting financially from zero. There's been a lot of challenge, but I haven't had one mentally down day since that day. So I truly do, believe that God healed me, and also equipped me with the knowledge of like how to create a lifestyle to where I keep it within the confines of staying.
So divine intervention, 100%
Absolutely.
believe that. 100 believe that happens today. So it wasn't a counseling session. It wasn't a miraculous conversation. It was you woke up one morning and God said, all right, you're done. Like it's time.
Man, I've tried the counseling. I saw 4 different counselors, tried 2 different medications. And I'm not anti-medicine. I believe that medicine has a place in the protocol for some people. For some people, it doesn't. In my gut, I knew it wasn't for me. However, when you're desperate, right, and you've exhausted every attempt at being healthy, you want to give it a shot. But that was actually what triggered the poor dietary decisions and the lifestyle change, because I took it and I gained 30 pounds.
Oh, okay.
I believe, and this is completely, I'm not a medical expert, but I believe that the medications that I was on kind of correlated dopamine release with fast food. And when you're not leaving your condo, you're not optimistic at all. You're not dreaming about anything, excited about anything. If the only dopamine hit that you get when your brain's learning how to produce these chemicals again through a substance, I believe that it correlated that. And I got off the medicine after 30 days, and I said, man, I'd rather be depressed and skinny than depressed and fat. It was too late, man. I was already hooked. And I'd say since childhood, have never had an issue like with food cravings and things of that nature.
Yeah, it wasn't in your repertoire of things, and then it kind of came back in. So you tried all the different things, medications, divine intervention happened, the veil was lifted. What was your starting point? Where did you go from there? Like, how did you? I mean, obviously now you are, in this different space. But what was that transition like?
It's kind of funny. So the first thing I did was got the wild thought in my head. I was like, I wonder how many push-ups I can do, like to see where I'm starting off if I'm gonna, get fit again. And I think I failed on like number 5 or 6. Like, it was rough. But after that, man, really, I just picked up the phone for the first time in 2 years. I had thousands of missed texts, missed calls, voicemail inbox was full, 44,000 emails unread. Like, it was gnarly. And so I picked it up for the first, started calling a couple people back, and then word kind of got around. And man, really by the end of that first day, I'd already had an attorney drafting paperwork for a nonprofit. And it was it was God. I feel like I downloaded these new dreams and these new ideas that I had. But then in terms of like career and stuff, I really didn't do anything for 90 days. And I was just praying. I felt like that was a good time. All I was doing was waking up, doing the most minimal workout I could. I mean, that's all I could manage at the time, whether it was take a walk or get on my bike or what. And so I didn't do any business for 90 days. And at the end of that, like almost like to the day, just had a buddy call while I was actually out in Scottsdale, Arizona, playing some golf, and offered me an opportunity with D1, and that's kind of where that took off.
How about relationship wise? How did that? Because you were. I mean, again, you're going body, relationship, mind, all those types of things. How did that? How do you ease back into that? I mean, obviously you have people who loved you and cared about you. So how was that? Stepping back into that, knowing that you were absent.
It was awesome, man, just to see how they just had arms wide open, like welcoming me back, pretending like, we're right where we left off. Because a lot of times when I was sick, and your sick brain will lie to you. When you have a chemical imbalance, your worst case scenario in every thought that passes through your head. So I thought that these relationships that I spent decades building in the city and all these things were gone forever. And they weren't. Like the ones that I thought I had ruined the most by me disappearing were actually the most welcoming ones back, whether that was past business partners, investors. The mayor of my town left me a voicemail that was very encouraging the first week I was back. It was just everybody was very excited, but also just happy, like just wanted nothing from me. That was the biggest thing. It was like kind of before I got sick, I definitely became a yes man, a people pleaser. And I, now can see relationships where I was the only one making deposits in those relationships. Right. But since coming back, it's been like very even exchange, like friendships where it's, yes, I help you, but you also help me. It's not just what can Andy do for me. So
correct.
It's been awesome. And I will say this, because I feel like it's important. Like I cut some relationships off. that were part of what contributed to me getting in that hole. And so that's equally as important.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think relationships are so important, but it has to be a two-way street. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is. You're giving more, and you know that. But the ones that make you healthy and the ones that make you whole are the ones that you are able to have two-way streets with, and able to go, oh yeah, they're not just asking for me. They're trying to actually help me and encourage me in what I'm doing. That's great. And then so you got the call from D1, and now what are you doing today? Like, what are you excited about? I know you got the nonprofit, you're going to go to the deepest, darkest part of ultra marathon running, of something that I would not want to do. And you're doing, business side of things. So what's Andy doing today?
Yeah. So I'd say, man, my main focus is every day are, training for my endurance race season that's upcoming. So I'm doing a couple of gravel bike races in the Carolinas. I'm doing an extreme triathlon in Park City, Utah.
Talk about that. For the listener who doesn't, you had to tell me what that was, but for the listener who doesn't know what that type of thing is, please explain that.
Yeah, so it's a full distance triathlon. You hear the word Ironman often. Right, that we've kind of made a synonym of triathlon, but Ironman is actually just a brand of triathlon race. But full distance being 2.4 mile swim. Honestly, I don't even know the bike, 100 and something bike. I think it's 112. And then a full marathon run at the end. I'm doing that in Park City, Utah. But the kicker is the swim is done in total pitch black darkness because you start so early. And the bike and run collectively have 20,000 feet of elevation gain. Wow. So already would have been gnarly for me back when I was in shape back in the day, but I'm doing this as I prep and lose, 70, 80 pounds, getting back to race weight doing this. Plus I'm doing it all at sea level. So the elevation is going to be very interesting.
So the difference between the Ironman that maybe people see on TV, which is Honolulu or wherever, Kona, Hawaii. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say Hawaii.
Yeah.
Sea level.
Championship.
Sea level. Good weather. I would say Hawaii's pretty flat,
Relatively, yeah.
I know there's mountains and things like that, but they're pretty flat. And then you're doing like pitch black, 20,000, not a lot of air, lots of up and down.
It's gonna be interesting. Very interesting. The guy whose race it is, Iron Cowboy, who some listeners may know of, he's in my opinion, the gnarliest endurance athlete in the triathlon world to ever walk this planet. But it's his kind of endorsed race in his backyard there in Utah. And I was on a Zoom call with him a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, man, for lack of better words, you're screwed. But I want you to do well. He's like, but this is tough. And I was like, all right, cool. Challenge accepted.
That's amazing. How are you feeling about it? Like, what are your goals going into something like that, where it is like the guy who's putting it on is going, you're screwed? Like,
man, it's a completion goal for me, right? I don't have a time in mind at all. I'm actually doing, for the first time ever, an entire race prep without looking at the time or any pace or cadence. I'm doing it all off of heart rate right now because that's really all that I can control with my current fitness level. So, man, a finish is a victory in my book for this one. And there's a time cutoff. So, technically, of course I could finish it if it took 2 days, right? I could finish it. As long as you don't drown on the swim, you're going to finish it.
Correct.
But there is a time cutoff. So the goal is just to beat that.
Okay. And now what's the time cutoff?
That's a good question that I don't have the answer to. But, I think a lot of people do the race in 15, 16 hours.
Still a long time to be like, I got to keep going. I have to do this kind of finishing type things. That is fantastic. So you got that going on. So you went into the ultra marathon stuff. What else is going on with what we were working on?
Yeah. So the Keep Going Foundation is my nonprofit. Mm-hmm. So that exists as a fundraising tool to raise money for anything mental health related. So I partner with a couple other nonprofits, some nonprofit medical companies, counseling companies, some like parent support nonprofits for kids going through mental health challenges. But basically, the nonprofit, I do these races and these crazy endurance challenges as a feeder to generate revenue, or donations. Sorry, I've been such a for-profit guy my whole life.
You're good. Yeah.
To get donations to push to those. It's basically a pass-through entity.
Cool. And what made you want to do that? I mean, like, what made you want? I know you're coming out of your own type of mental health blocks, but what made you want to go? Okay, I want to help promote this.
Man, I feel like I needed a purpose bigger than just me, right? To truly get healthy again. Obviously, like if I wanted to just do it for me, like it wouldn't have taken 2 years, right? I didn't really care about me. So kind of by connecting it to something bigger than myself, it's much easier to wake up every day and, work a full-time career. Then some days you're training 4 to 6, 7 hours outside of that. So like it takes a motivating factor. That's been a big piece of it. But I mean, honestly, I believe that it was just a calling from God, because that first day is whenever I had the entire business plan drafted for it. When I was like, could barely put sentences together the day before, 2 days before.
That's wild. That's just so amazing. What would you want the Keep Going Foundation to be? Like, what are you, I think it's a great name. I'm very much connected to you, but what are you excited about what it could be?
So the biggest thing that I'm excited about with it is, it's raising awareness, right? But I also want it to inspire other people to do whatever their thing is, right? It doesn't have to be endurance sports, business, anything there. Keep going is a mantra that could be applied across the board, right? You got to keep going to be a parent. You got to keep going to be an evangelist, anything. And so the overarching brand obviously can apply to the masses. But then some of the like specific missions I have for it are like helping athletes, right? That are going through mental health struggles and things of that nature due to, like we've discussed in the past, whether that be traumatic brain injuries, which, doctors, and we've talked a lot, I believe contributed to mine some, like multiple concussions, what concussions were and how to, like the recovery protocol should be. Like I told you, there were many weeks in wakeboarding where now looking back, I distinctly can remember having multiple concussions in them, which is just, it's a scary thought. But how do we spread awareness for that? And then also, how do we show those athletes like, hey, you can get over this hurdle?
And what I love about you too is being able to, and we've talked about this before, is the tools that are out there, like having help promote tools. And we'll get into a little bit later about the call box and kind of how you've been able to use that. But I just love your curiosity of going, hey, I had this issue. This is what's going on. And here are some tools that are out there and how to promote them. In your life, I actually want to go into this. Sorry, my messages is going off. Is talk about spiritually. What was that like? Because we've talked about mentally, emotionally, physically, but spiritually, how is this type of shaped for you?
Yeah. So, I grew up in the church, been a Christian my whole life. However, my relationship with God was a lot like this in the past. I'll say for those 2 years that I was just in the trenches, there was definitely thoughts of like, perhaps I angered God, like, shame, guilt, all of those things. Because, some things contributed to me getting in that place because of my lifestyle choices. And so there was a lot of weight on me and what I had done. After, we'll call it waking up, I had a completely different outlook of what it means to follow Christ. And the biggest switch was like complete surrender and realizing that this isn't a performance, right? Like I don't have to check these certain boxes so that I am your picture perfect Christian. And then I receive God's grace. It's like I receive God's grace. He meets me where I'm at. And now I want to guide my lifestyle in a manner that pleases him and keeps me, in union with him. So the biggest piece was like from my input, my performance, because I'm very type A, I'm very achievement driven, and always have considered myself like a high performer. So like I always want to do, and it's me and put it on my shoulders. So for the first time in my life, I've been like, obviously there's nothing I could do to fix this, or else it wouldn't have taken 2 years.
Wow, I couldn't even, I mean, I think you put that perfectly of just relationship with God and going, it's not about, okay, if I'm good enough, if I'm, if I do these things, do these check boxes, then I'll have his grace. I can earn it.
Right.
But just going, no, I just want to be with you. Like just
Yep.
learn how to be with me, be with me. And, I want to help you live the best life that you can and
Yep.
just be with me. And I'm excited to be with you. Like all of those types of things and that's been a huge part of my development too, as a believer, is being able to go, I am enough. He just wants all of me because he knows the best way that I should live. And that's just what it is.
Absolutely. That's all it is too. It's like, it's funny, like the gospel is so simple. Man has came up with ways throughout the years to overcomplicate it and just, and we could go down a million different avenues of like, simplify it, refine it to its like base level. But like at the end of the day, it's, hey, God loves us. Like all we have to do is lean into him, and the rest is really minor details.
Correct. And it's the direction you're going in. I mean, like you started, even from a physical standpoint, you started in such a, I could only do 5 push-ups, but you could have stopped there and gone, well, there's no point.
Right.
It's the same thing with the relationship with God. It's like you could start. It's like, oh, I'm so bad, or all of the check boxes kinds of things. But God's like, I don't care. Like, what direction are you going in? Like, I just want to be with you. It's always the famous things, come as you are type of a thing. And it is very true. That's the starting point. And then you get to be a part of what he has for you, and live in that from that point on. And not saying that there's not hard times and there's difficult times, ups and downs, but it's just the direction you're going in. It's amazing. I love the way that, do you feel like, can you look back on that hard time now and say, oh, I see God's plan? I don't know if, I know that's such a cliche thing to have, or but do you see like, oh God, like what, how do you view that now?
I view it as God is an opportunist, right? So God didn't send me through that season. I made my free will choices on this planet that led me down a path that got me to that place. But with God being the great opportunist that he is, he used it for good. And so, I mean it when I say it. I would not trade those 2 years for anything, whether it was making another couple $1 million, whatever it might be, right? Not because I enjoyed it, but because I'm seeing the impact on the other side of it.
Correct.
That literally every single day, like now I'll say I wake up with a heart to serve, like truly. And I was always involved in my community, and I would share what I thought the gospel was back then to my best understanding and all of that. But like to truly wake up with a heart of that, I get the opportunity to do that every day because the story is shared. People ask me, there's just a lot more opportunities to really, at the end of the day, brag on God now than there were before. And so I think that, like I said, he didn't create that, and he didn't put that upon me, or he's not an angry God.
Yep.
Yeah. News break. He's not angry.
Correct.
He's actually a very happy guy.
Correct.
And with all of that being said, like, yes, he used this for good. And I think that the greatest like takeaway from it for me personally was like to stay in a posture of like submission and like letting him carry the burdens that I was trying to carry. But then for outward facing to others is just letting them know like, things that they can do before they get that low.
Correct.
Right. Because I believe that if you go to those dark places and you make it out on the other side, that you're gonna have a relationship with God, because I don't think that you can climb out of it without. But how do we get people to lean into that without having to go into those low places? And that's something.
Yes, yes, I 100% believe with you, because people can say that, oh, well, did God cause you to have that so you can have this today? It's like, no, okay, you did it through your own choices. And even, I mean, I would contribute to some concussions, probably side of it too. I'm sure.
For sure.
For the head trauma, I think there's some external things that probably happened that caused you to be a little bit more out of sync, and, you know, more causation for it. I mean,
definitely.
Someone who plays, you know, NFL football is going to have a much higher chance of getting CTE than someone who doesn't. Like, there's some external forces that had happened, but you came into that, had that happen, and now you're on the other side of it, and you can go, hey, I don't want anyone to experience this ever. So I'm going to try to say, this is what happens if you do these things. Here's something that can happen. So let's try to get this on the front end a little bit more, so that no one has to go through those types of things, which I think is a beautiful story and a great framework too, that you've able to seen that too and articulate it too. So I'm so happy for you that you've had. And how long ago was that since the wake up day?
I started my recovery journey on September 21st of 2020.
Wow.
So not that long ago.
That is not that long ago. And look to where you are today, and even articulate it and be able to do that. That is amazing enough of itself.
And if you need any more proof of God's existence, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to have someone say, I'm like, hey, I need you to call my buddy Andy. Like, please do. Please call him, and he's going to tell you his story.
Might not be the call they want, but they'll be glad that they made it.
Well, at some point, people will be like, well, I just don't believe it, or whatever it is. But anyway, that's a whole different story. That's another podcast. All right. I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to go a little bit into some business stuff, because I think you've seen a lot, you've done a lot. And for kind of the listener here, I want to be able to add value to somebody who's just listening, you know, kind of in the business world, trying to do mindset, trying to help their brain to be bigger, but also I think being more observational. So all that to say, like, from a business standpoint, you're looking at a lot of business. What do you see as the successful side of business? What do you think of, like, the elements when you look at somebody? What are you seeing? Like, hey, here are the foundational things that need to happen.
Business as a whole, I believe that it's 100% dependent. The success of the organization is dependent of the jockey, the guy that's leading, the guy that's steering the ship. I can say that personally because I've had businesses that I was the jockey that weren't trending in the right direction, right? And I wasn't doing the things I needed to do at the time, or didn't have the knowledge yet, or the mentorship, or the things that I needed in those businesses that failed. So 100%, like, your most important characteristic, or even we'll say asset, is human capital.
Okay.
So you have great product or service, but if you don't have the humans there to keep the school bus headed in the right direction, it doesn't matter.
That's great. So what are you doing now that you weren't doing before to help yourself to be the best jockey you can be?
That's a great question. I think because it's slow, like, improvement over time, right? So you don't necessarily, it wasn't like I read one book and then boom, it was pivotal and it changed my whole life and my career trajectory. But I'll say that probably, like, slowly over time, I've started to realize how little I knew. It's funny, like, the smarter that you get, the less you know. You hear people say that. It's so true. And I would say, like, me in my early 20s, when I was just like, I wore the identity of, like, entrepreneur and, like, top dog in my city and all these things that make me sick now to think about using the words hustle and grind. Ugh. And at that point, like, I thought I knew it all, right? Now it's like, dude, there is something you can learn from every single person that you encounter, no matter what walk of life, what they do for a career, healthy, sick, rich, poor, different rate, anything across the board. There's always something to learn from somebody. And I have noticed that the people that I look up to the most, leaders that I look up to the most, are the most open to learning from every person that they encounter with.
It's funny you say that. There's a guy who I highly, highly recommend, and I want him on the podcast. His name's Coach Zinger. He was a guy who we met with to do some brain stuff, and he was one of the first guys that I met that worked with lots of Major League Baseball players. Was very, very knowledgeable, very, very well respected, and we were presenting him for the first time, and he came in and he goes, "Tell me what I need to do," and it was the most, and I 100% exactly what you just said. The people that I've encountered that are like people I look up to, people that come in with empty cups.
Yeah.
That say, "What can you teach me today?"
I like the way that's phrased. Because like my D1, I walked in and went, "Hey, teach me like I am a kindergartner. What are y'all's processes? How, you know, in the past, I probably would have walked into an environment like that with my chest up, trying to like prove myself and how much knowledge I have in my head. But instead, I'm like, hey guys, like, I see you and I see the team that I'm walking into. And like, I'm honored to even be in the same room as y'all. Like, teach me everything you know."
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember that time of and that's what I try to do. I don't do it all the time, but trying to come in and say, all right, what can I learn from the situation? And just the humbleness. I mean, Proverbs talks about humbleness being like the cornerstone and ego not being it.
Yeah.
And so being, come in, sit yourself at the end of the table and have the host bring you in, so that's great. I mean, I think that's great insight for anybody listening, is just coming in with an empty cup, coming in and learning and knowing that I know this much and can contribute a little bit, being brought in there. Let's talk about let's talk about the Calm Box for a little bit. So for those people who don't kind of know what it is, it's a CES unit, cranial electrical therapy stimulation. It's something that, as we were discussing about what you were going through and being an entrepreneur and everything like that, I was like, hey, try this out, see how it works in kind of your daily life. What has it been like for you using it? What was a little about, before? What did you feel before? And then how are you applying it today?
Yeah. So whenever I received my unit and started using it, I'll be honest, like I wouldn't say necessarily skeptical. But I wasn't like, man, I know this is about to just be a game changer, right? I was like, I'm open to it. I'll try it. We'll see. But man, it's awesome. First use, I would say the biggest thing I noticed was just cognitive function, right? I'm a very distracted person, or I'm easily distracted, right? I've never been tested. I never desired to like medically approach it, but I have all the characteristics if you read symptom chart for ADHD. And so it helps me in a lot of ways, because I say that my brain is a computer with like 57 tabs open at all times. So I can access a lot of information, but like staying on a tab for as long as you're supposed to is sometimes a struggle. It helps me stay on that tab. Aside from that, I think that it also winds me down prior to sleep. So a lot of times in the evening after a day of training, work, all these calls, you can have some thoughts rolling around that are still not even like anxiety, but just like you're just still thinking about it. And I feel like when I use Normatec sleeves for compression on my legs and my hips before bed, and I put the Calm Box on as well. And I feel like it just, is going, shh. And I, lay my head on my pillow and I sleep great every single night. So I think those are the two greatest things it does for me, is focus. Like I put it on in the morning whenever I'm looking through how many leads I have to call for the day and emails and all the like administrative stuff as I'm drinking my coffee, but then also in the evenings before I go to bed.
That's great. And do you feel like, did you feel it the first time, or has it gotten better, or is it like, what's your feeling? I mean, you probably used it for a couple of weeks now, and now do you still feel like, all right, this is actually helping me?
Yeah. So I've noticed a difference first use. Now hey, whether that was placebo in my head because I was like just waiting for something, or I wasn't used to the sensation on my earlobes, to be determined. I'm not sure. But I still say that I feel the same, like kind of tunneling in on whatever task I'm doing now when I put it on. I have noticed that I can crank it all the way up now versus whenever I first tried it, like I was barely even twisting the dial. So not sure if I'm getting anything more or less from having more, but that's the only thing that I'd say I've gotten used to is like this sensation on my earlobes.
Yeah, it's you're actually not getting any more. You're just used to like the sensation now. If you turn it on just a little bit, it's still the same
Hmm.
wavelength as if you turn it up all the way. But yeah, I've how I use it too. It's the same thing. Is hey, in the morning I'll turn it on and be able to kind of focus in. And then I've actually been using it at night more. I've had some sleep stuff that has been okay. I can't, those thoughts in my head, but at least I have
Yeah.
something to go to now. Like that's been I think the biggest thing for me personally is before it would be probably like I'm just gonna sit here or how do I fall asleep? What do I do? That kind of anxiety kind of builds. But now it's like I know where to go now. I
Yeah.
can go just I'm feeling a certain way. I'm gonna go do this.
Hmm.
Um, Rather than having to struggle through it or maybe get another cup of coffee or try to do
Right.
something, try to get myself out of it. That's how I use it. That's great. How has it been use case in your life? Like, is it now a part of your rhythm, or is it something that you have to still kind of like remember to use?
So I wouldn't say it's like a complete like autopilot habit yet. But I think the biggest contributing piece to that is like I was on the road for 4 months straight, pretty much whenever I got healthy, just trying to network and just throw mud at the wall, see where it sticks with, the foundation and all those things. Now that I'm home, I think I'm still establishing what my daily routine is.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that it will be. There have been 2 or 3 days where I didn't do it, and then I'm looking, and I'm like, it's literally right next to my computer desk. Like, how come I haven't been doing this and pop it on? So
Yeah.
I think that I'm getting it there,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to add it into more things. Like, I think that doing it like pre-race will be cool to see like what that does in terms of locking me in. Tomorrow morning, I'm doing it pre-golf round for the first time. I know you've texted me a couple of times when I've been out on the course and been like, "Yo, did you do it?" And I'm like, I forgot. But I'm actually going to bring it with me and use it while I'm driving to the course. So before I even chip and putt,
Well,
warm up.
I had a buddy text me said he used the Calm box. He didn't use it right before, but he used it like 3 days beforehand, and he shot his lowest round he's shot in a long time.
Hey,
And
I'll welcome those results.
yeah, absolutely, it is it's a funny type of thing for people who don't. Yeah, it's what it does. Kind of sciencey side of it is it takes the part of your brain that goes, hey, I need to focus on this. As you said, open tab, open tab, open tab, open tab, and it just kind of makes the tabs just go to one. So if an open tab does come back on, your brain goes, okay, that's cool, but can go back into it. So
Hmm.
that's why it's FDA approved for anxiety, depression, and insomnia because it turns that down a lot more. The other thing that I just learned, I'll send you the sciencey part of it, is also it says because your brain's a battery, it's got electricity in it. And they're saying that it actually produces enough electricity into your neurons. Probably it begins with an N, but I can't remember which one it was. But it gives them enough electricity that they're ready to fire, but not firing it. So it gives that battery a little bit of your brain, a little bit of a boost so it can produce things like dopamine and all of the hormones that you need. It's giving that battery back into play. So there's a couple different things of why they think it actually helps with those three things. But that's one of them. I just read that the other day and I thought that was fascinating of why
It's
they
been
think it.
awesome for me. And I'll say I haven't experienced any of those negative feelings since I've started using it.
Cool.
And I'd love for there to be a day because I'm not anti-medicine by any means. If I get an infection tomorrow, I'll be at the
Mm-hmm.
doctor's office getting antibiotics.
Yep.
However, when it comes to the mental health space and even physical health, I always want to try the most holistic approaches first. Then we'll add in medication, mainly because of side effects, right? I don't want to take something where I'm fixing one thing, but I have, like, you hear the commercials on the TV, right? Hey, this fixes this, could cause this. And like the math just isn't mathing for me. So like I would love for there to be a world one day where like CalmBox is mentioned whenever you have that first meeting with your general practitioner. Say, hey doc, I can't sleep. I'm feeling depression. I'm feeling anxious, all these things. It's like, they put me on a sleeping pill. They put me on an SSRI. They put me on a this or that. And it's like, man, like if I could have just tried this device, not to mention I would have saved money in the long run, but try this device. And man, if I would have had the same first use feeling, right? If my brain would have responded to it before I went in the 2-year hole, who knows? Who knows what would have happened?
Absolutely. That's a perfect way to put it. I mean, that's why I love providing this type of technology to people, is because who knows what's going to happen. I mean, I think this statistically, 85% of the people respond positive to them. So there's a group of people that may use it and be like, nah, I didn't really feel anything, but it's just how the brain responds. But it's an easy, like, it's either going to work or not. Like, it's not like, okay, after the 50th time, after the 50th session, then we'll figure it out. It's like, within the first week, you'll know if you're sending it back to me or not. Like, that's how we kind of do it, because if you want to return it, you can always return it. I think we sold, I want to say, over the last year, probably 50 of them, and one person has sent it back to me. Everyone else has kept it and gone, all right, well, I guess it's working. And then some people like you, who I text and they're like, hey, by the way, I'm using the CalmBox today. Or I just gave it to a friend. I need another one. I had another guy do that. He's like, I gave it to my mom who wasn't sleeping well.
Yeah.
I need one now. So that's been actually more empowering to me, is to see how other people have been creative with it, to go, oh, I have a solution for this now. Not medication. It's not this. Try this, see what happens.
Yep. And risk-free, right? Like it's a no-brainer to me. The only thing that I think, that people have to do is like approach it with an open mind.
Correct.
Right? If you're not a neuroscientist, you're probably not going to understand all the science behind it, right? And the white paper research that's been done on it, I don't know if we mentioned, but it's nothing new under the sun. It's been around, 20, 30 years? Is that what you told me?
30 years. The first
30 years.
First of it was actually probably 40 years ago, was the first research ever done.
So why is this not in the discussion or in the protocol than like what we're talking about doing and helping with athletes, right? Because D1, what my main focus is every day, like it's to get our facilities in every community across the country to influence the next generations of athletes early on. Let's teach them, let's build a foundation for them, character-wise, performance-wise, everything, but a big part of it mindset-wise, so that they have that early, they have that foundation as they rise through the ranks, rather than by the grace of God making it to the top of their sport and then going, okay, man, I got to do something to stay here, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm so passionate about what it can do on the sports performance side, because it just is another tool in the toolbox for these young athletes. And, I remember myself, and I just thought about this angle live for the first time. I've never had this thought before, but like when I was young, I believe a lot of what held me back in my baseball career was performance anxiety, right? I was the kid who's on deck swinging and going, man, I hope this guy walks me. Wasn't the kid, I wasn't the guy now who craves the challenge and, wants to take the buzzer beater shot. No, I was the dude who was like, man, I just want to not suck. Not I want to be great and achieve excellence. Like, I just want to not fail. And so, but I think a big piece of that was me being so concerned and so worked up, my emotions and everything. Who knows what kind of application that CalmBox could do to pre-performance anxiety reduction.
100%. And that's where we actually recommend for our athletes to use it as pregame, postgame, is because it allows your brain just to not get to that point. Now, there probably is some soft skill stuff to be able to work with too. We believe in working on the hardware and the software.
For
Like
sure.
we're taking the hardware on because I think there's an education gap there, but there's a lot more mental performance coaches, mental performance psychologists being in, especially sports psychologists being in play now, where it's like, hey, this is important. So
Right.
we're helping with that, with helping out the hardware. But I had the same thing. I mean, I believe my baseball college career would have been better if I actually played less scared and more angry.
Yeah.
And because if I would have come out, I was so relational that I was like, I don't want to disappoint people. But
Right.
if I would have played a little bit more bold, a little bit more, I don't care what people think about me. I'm going to go play. I know I can play. And it was always those guys, baseball players were kind of seen as, the jerks because they would carry that off the field too.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish I had that a little bit more on the field. And the
Yeah.
Calm Box could have helped in working through those types of positive thinking and all those types of things that I think are very beneficial to it. But I think both hand in hand are great too.
Yeah.
Helps calm the brain down physically, but then also, pairing that with a good mental routine. Man, athletes today could perform at their peak. I mean, we think about performance equals potential minus interference. That's kind of our phrase.
Favorite thing that I've picked up from you since we became friends is that one right there. That equation. I'm not big on equations, right? I am not the most academic guy. Or at least I don't enjoy that, right? But man, that's an equation I can get behind.
Well, Tim Galway, he came up with it, so it's not me. But I use it a lot because it's so simple. Because it goes, you have this performance, and you're like, why am I not performing to my potential? It's because you have these interferences in play. So let's work on both sides of it. Where you may have all the God-given gifts in the world. We call them batting practice guys. They're hitting the ball the farthest, but they can't pull the trigger. And they're going, why is it that he can't do it? And rather than writing him off, my favorite thing to do is going, I want to work with that guy.
Right.
Give me the guy with all the potential in the world and who's not performing to that level. I want to work with that guy. Because I bet there are some interferences in his life that we can be able to tweak a little bit to work on so that he can perform at this highest level. And no matter if the potential wise, for you, I think you have all the potential in the world. I mean, you're driven, you have a vision. And so if we can help you with your interferences in a little bit as we can, gosh, I mean, that's just amazing. So it doesn't matter if it's an athlete or somebody who's working in business. I mean, that's what gets us pumped up. That's what gets us excited is going, how do we pull those two levers?
Well, I mean, hey, it's working for me, right? So can't say it works for everybody. Like you said, there are, 15%, right, that don't necessarily receive what others do from it. But I'm one of the 85%, and I give it my stamp of approval, man. It's awesome.
That's amazing. Well, hey, as we kind of tie this up today, where can people follow you? Where can people get to know you? Like, what is your what is your kind of send off today? I know I love the show Hot Ones because look at camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. What do you got going on today? What are you excited about? How people can follow you?
So they can just reach me at keep.going.andy on Instagram. That's the platform that I'm most active on, which isn't as much as it has been in the past. But as I get into racing season instead of prep for racing season, I'll probably be a little more active.
Cool.
But the best way, man, is just andy.vickers@d1training.com because I check that all day, every day. And, whether they need any advice from like the mental side of things, or maybe they're going through a season like that and they just want someone to talk to, like I want to make myself available to be that person for them. But also, man, if anybody's interested in, growing communities that have the next generation of athletes in it, like also very interested in you shooting me an email as well.
Wonderful. Love it. Yes. So if you want to follow his ultra marathon and making sure he makes it out of there alive, because I know he will. He's going to finish strong. He's going to, go in there and just crush it. Follow him along. I'll put all the information in the show notes so people can reach out to him. But I just thank you so much for coming on here. Thank you so much for spending time and sharing your story too. I know it's your story. It's just who you are. So I'm just very blessed and honored for you to be here today.
Thanks for having me, man. And I always like to say at the end of something like, I'm just bragging on God at the end of the day. That's all that this is, right? It was nothing I did. I'm nothing special. I'm just as flawed, if not more, than the next guy. So I always like to make that crystal clear. Whatever I have accomplished in my past or whatever I accomplish in the future is all thanks to God, because if it was on my shoulders, I'd still be laying on the couch.
I'm just going to end it there. That is fantastic. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.